Okay, what we got here, come on over here. We got our 67 GTO, and you can see that I painted all the jams. And what we're going to do is we're going to bolt the deck lid back on the car. Of course, we still got to sand that. We haven't sanded it yet. We're going to put the doors on, and we're going to put the front fenders on. Now, this is called a jam job. When I say that, the way that we painted this car is we went ahead and did all the jams, and then what we're going to do is we're going to bolt all the body parts on. We'll paint all the outside together instead of painting everything separate. Now, I do it two ways. I either do it this way here, or I do it separately. It just all depends on what car I'm working on and what mood I'm in and how I want to do it. But on this particular car, what we got is we got the door jams painted, we got all the black. You can see this right here. Okay, everything, the dash is painted. So the last thing we got to do is paint the outside of the car. We went ahead and had our inner fender wells sandblasted, and then we refinished those with a rust preventive paint. Same on the core support. And restoring this car, everything that we are using except the hood and the front nose piece is original OEM parts. I try to restore cars with original parts. I don't like to use aftermarket parts, and I will search and seizure to try to find good parts to use, but when it comes to the hoods of these old cars, it's pretty much you have to replace the hood. There's no way out of it. We got to put the front end back on her. Now if you look, I've already painted the underneath of the car, the firewall. The owner restored the frame on this thing. And now we're in the process of bolting the whole front end back together to get it done. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our inner fender wells bolted onto the front end. And then that'll hold our core support where it's supposed to go. And then it'll also be one less thing that we got to bolt on there. Now I noticed on these on this inner fender here, we got a couple pieces that are bolted onto this one, and this is going to be removed. We're not going to put that back on there yet, but we got a splash guard that came with this one here, whereas this one and this one here has that splash guard underneath already bolted on too, so that's good. Because we bought these used. These were used inner fenders, but the good thing about these is that they're factory original. They are not aftermarket. Aftermarket inner fender wells are almost as worse as putting on an aftermarket fender.
None of the holes will line up?
None of these holes will line up, none of them. You will guarantee 100% you will have to drill these holes out or oblong them, and every hole on this thing you'll have to redo. So it's better if you can get a hold of some original ones and work with those. But when you run into these old cars, and this is getting more common every day, what happens is the nuts and the bolts that you have, and we're talking about the original ones, most of them are either worn out or they are rusted and just beyond use. So what the situation is on the front end of this car, and I'm talking the whole front end, I'm talking the clips, the screws, the bolts. You got plastic clips that actually pop into these fenders right here, so your fender can bolt to that. You can actually get online and buy these factory nut and bolt kits for your car.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
And if we look right here, this is basically, now this is supposed to be a complete bolt kit all the way from this end to this end. This is supposed to be a complete bolt kit for the 1967 Pontiac Le Mans, and then of course other cars of that nature. You got your fender bolts, you got all your bolts that tie everything together, you can see that. All right, I believe that some of these are for fender bolts, bumper bolts. It looks like it comes with the speed nut clip-on clips for your bumper. It also comes with your fender shims, which is very important to have. These clips right here, you can see everything that it comes with. Now these are even the little plastic clips that I was talking about that go into the inner fender wells. And when you get a car like this, and it's in a million pieces, you aren't going to know how to put it together. I know how to put it together because I've done it a million times. But when you get these cars and you don't have all the nuts and bolts and you don't know what's going on, it's very, very hard to figure out how to put it all back together, am I right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Here's a good example. If we come over here, look at the screws that they used on these doors back then. They didn't even use bolts or nuts. Okay, so what I did is when I took the doors off, I went ahead and put the bolts and screws and everything back into the door so I wouldn't lose them. And also by doing that, it keeps the threads on the doors clean. Keeps all the paint out, the debris, the primers, and then I'll be able to hang my doors on there very simply and very easily, and everything should line up. One more thing I do want to mention that's very, very important when you're restoring one of these old cars is that you should never, ever remove the hinge, the door hinge, from the body of the car unless it's drastically 100% a guarantee that you have to. Even if you have to change your hinge pins, all right, and these hinge pins are really in good shape, there's nothing wrong with them, but even if you have to change that hinge pin and the bushings, you should always leave this piece right here, the backside hinge, you always leave that bolted to the car. You should never take these off. If anybody tells you that you should, they're bullshitting you. Because once you remove these door hinges off the body, it's going to be highly impossible, well, not impossible, but it's going to be very, very, very frustrating, and you're going to have a lot of anguish and anger lining that door back up the way it was when you took it off. And the reason is because these hinges, when you loosen these bolts, these hinges move this way, and they move that way and down. So they basically move in a circle. When you bolt the door to this hinge right here, it does the same thing. Now, the theory of this hinge working properly is this hinge here, okay, is going to line it up this way and up and down. Do you see what I'm saying? This hinge right here is going to line the door up going this way and this way. So you got a lot of movement here, you got a lot of situations going on with that door hinge, and I'm telling you right now, if your door hinges are in good shape, and even if you have to remove the hinge pin, always leave the back plate that bolts to the car on the car. Unless your hinges are gone and you have to replace them. I don't know what to tell you. So another situation we have by purchasing this bolt and screw kit, as you might call it, is that they're not just brand new, but when you're restoring your car, you're going to get the attention to detail. Do you understand what I'm saying, Minnie?
Yep.
Your eye and your brain, okay, let me make that different here. Your eye and your brain focus on two different things and you don't realize it. When your eyeball looks at that car out here, it's looking at the big picture. It's looking at the beautiful red paint. It's looking at the beautiful interior and the chrome wheels and all the nice stuff going on. But your brain is looking at that bolt right there. It's looking at that brand new bolt or rusty old bolt or bolt that you cleaned and painted or sandblasted or whatever. And it's also looking at this little clip that your eye will glimpse down as it's scanning to see if you use the right parts. And that is where the theory of nitpicking, complaining, and basically he didn't do the job right comes. Because your brain is picking up all these little intricate stuff, whereas your eyeball sees the big picture. Now, I'm not going to sit here hollering and screaming about complainers and nitpickers, but we got people that go to car shows, and we got people like this guy right here, Minnie. Okay, this guy here that has spent thousands and thousands of dollars to have his dream car put together. And then we got guys that go to the car shows after this guy gets done, and they will walk around his car, and they will say, oh, that's awesome, that's great. But they might see that bolt right there, and that's something for that guy to complain about. And the reason that most complainers complain, I'm gonna let you know after the car's done, is because they're jealous. They're jealous because they don't have what you have. So, now that we did our little rant and rave there, Minnie's rolling her eyes and batting herself in the face and telling me to shut up. Is there a problem?
No, but I just...
Okay, but I'm just saying.
I wish you could just make a video without...
Well, I'm just, I gotta bring up all the aspects of what's going on here.
You don't have to.
Okay?
No.
Yeah, I do, because that's the type of guy I am. Alright, so, we found out a couple reasons why it's important to go ahead and buy this. The other reason is because when you buy this type of a kit, it's pretty much basically very inexpensive to how much money you've already spent on your car. Am I right, Minnie?
Yeah, and you don't want rusty, ugly, dirty looking bolts on your brand new paint, man.
And there's a lot of people out there that don't have sandblasters at home, and they don't have rock tumblers and all this other stuff to clean them old bolts. So it's a lot simpler and a lot easier to go ahead and get this bolt kit, and it's a nice clean job and everything goes together, really good. And another thing about these, they're getting so inexpensive and cheap. I did a Mustang for Charla, remember that? It was a 68 Mustang, and we bought a complete Mustang bolt kit. It had every nut and bolt inside and out, screws, latches, everything you can think of that held that car together. Remember that?
Yeah, but that was every
screw, clip, washer, everything from bumper to bumper. It didn't matter what it was everything. You can now get online and you can find these kits anywhere from $30 to $70, depending on who's making them and where they're made.
Muscle cars are really popular right now, and the parts are out there.
We're going to go ahead and bolt all this together, and when we come back, we're going to look at it, and I'm going to show you how nice and how clean a job can be if you spend a little money doing this than taking several days doing that. Alright, what we're doing, we're using our brand new bolt kit. Come on over here. You can see I've already bolted the fenders on that side, and the door's already done. So what I'm doing now is these come in the kit of bolts, and you can see that this is going to use 2 shims. See how low that fender is, Minnie? Yeah. So let me get a pry bar, and then I'm going to jack it up and put another shim under there. And that's what's good about getting the right bolt kit for the job. Is there a paper towel? Give me that. I'm going to try to be real careful. And that's another thing that goes on when you're doing this. You got to really pay attention to what you're doing if you don't want to scratch your paint. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
So it's real important to pay close attention. Now see, that still is low, so that means this bolt here is too high. So we're going to go ahead and take this and loosen that up. Now, I've been putting these in, I actually have an air ratchet, but I don't think there's been a fender on this car for 30 years. And the reason I say that is I bought this body in the junkyard. And the guy literally said it's been sitting there for 30 years. So, go figure, you know what I mean? See how I'm jacking that up and getting a hold of it. And I'm getting it up there where, see where I'm trying to get it right here? I don't know if you can, there it is. So we're gonna put one more and then we'll put 3 under here. Okay, so we got 3 shims under there. That's what's special about buying these bolt kits, is that it comes with all the stuff to install the whole front clip. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Now, I had to pull the core support this way because we want that fender up here where it's supposed to be, and then we're gonna go like that. You see what I'm doing here?
All right.
Okay, so now that I tapped out the fenders by hand, I'll go ahead and take my air ratchet, and then we're going to zap that up. And this is where it really helps to have 3 hands. Just like that. Now look what happens. Shim slipped out of there. Get it back in there. Came out. Are you looking at that? Right there. Make sure all those shims are in there. Very important when you use these bolt kits that you put everything back together just like it's supposed to be. Right there, look at that. Perfect. Started. Now, one thing about doing this is, like I said, I've done this a million times and I know what's going on, but if you've never done this before, it's going to be a lot harder for you to do. You want to start that in there when I get the pry bar. Hang on, I'm going to go ahead and use this rag again. See, remember? Can you kind of see it there?
Oh, I can't see the
Okay,
hole.
well let me get it lined up. Maybe you ought to get, you get on this side and I'll be on that side.
It's screaming louder. Come on, Pete.
Because all this is a bolt. This bolt here is actually a bracket for our hinges. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go, hurry.
You're in, I can't even, you're in the way.
Give me it. Damn it.
The thing is in the way.
Well, I can't help it. I gotta be able to push it out of the way. Go, right, let me see, move your hand. Right there, go. Just start it. Get it started. Come on. Okay, all right. See, all that bolt's for is basically a brace for our hood hinge, so that doesn't get any shims. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alright, so we still don't want to take this off here, but we did use our brand new nuts and bolts. Now the reason this was hard to go on, and I can kind of see that it's really not on all the way still, is because, can I say it one more time? The car sat in the junkyard for 30 years with no front clip on it in the dirt. Now how proud would you be of taking a car like this out of the junkyard that's been sitting in the dirt for 30 years and completely restoring it? What kind of feeling would that give you? Many.
Pretty good, I guess. Resurrection.
Yeah, brand new bolt kits that you can buy. I believe that they're well worth the money. It's a good investment, and it really gives your car that extra clean look. Look at the engine compartment, I mean. All right. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Once again, this is not a concourse restoration. This is a, let's restore the car and paint it so I can drive it. Just letting everybody know. Yes, he does have a 454 big block Chevy in it. He said later down the line he's going to change that. But anyway, I'm just answering questions for people before they ask them, because I know they're going to say something about the 454 big block. All right, I got to get this fender on. This is Pete over at D.I.Y. Auto School. Not just showing you how to do stuff, but showing you stuff to use to do the stuff right. And in my opinion, I would prefer to spend spending this kind of money on a car. I would prefer to spend the $40 to $60, $70 on brand new nuts and bolts then use the old rotted rusted ones. We'll see you later. Take it easy, and happy nut and bolting to you. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.